They took 500,000 or so bones from Fairbanks to New York City. They ran out of storage and they dumped them in the East River.
And so they dumped how much in the East River?
Boxcar load, 50 tons.
Just threw it in the water?
Yes, sir.
Is it still there?
Could be.
Do you know how crazy it would be if there's mammoth bones right there in the East River?
Let me tell you something about mammoth bones, mammoth tusks. They're extremely valuable. So if any of you guys want to go out and find some bones, I'll tell you exactly where the they're at. The dump site at the time was off the East River Drive at about 65th Street.
So all it would take is a well-heeled expedition of guys who know how to scuba. Tell you what, if somebody goes there and they get a tusk, I'll have you on the podcast.
Because this is going to be a bone rush.
Go get it. Go get them tusks.
Team Bone Rush has put together an expedition to go out to the East River. And I want to walk you through exactly what happened and what we've done up to this point and what we're going to be doing going forward. Let me talk to you about Bone Rush and how it started. John Reeves was on the Joe Rogan podcast, I believe in December 2022. And during that, he was discussing his bones that he found on his property over the last several years in Alaska, mainly woolly mammoths, steppe bisons, things of that nature. On the Joe Rogan podcast, he disclosed that the museum, the American Museum of Natural History,
they took 500,000 or so bones from Fairbanks to New York City. Left them in the crates, but in the 40s, they took about a whole boxcar load of these bones. They ran out of storage and they dumped them in the East River.
So John has documentation of this information. He disclosed this on Joe Rogan with the precise address.
Do you know what street they pulled up to where they dumped them off?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yeah. The dump site at the time was off the East River Drive at about 65th Street.
For us, we came together and thought this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a bone rush. We think there's going to be a lot of activity going on down there because of this statement. But we thought that there would be an opportunity for us to get involved in other bone rush activity on a global scale. But this is the kickstart to this. This is the nucleus. This is where it all started. So fast forward 3 months from that date, we're out searching and looking for prehistoric bones in the East River. Now, in order to get there, we had to make some phone calls. We had to do some interesting work to get in touch with the right people because there was a guy by the name of Don, Dirty Water Don they call him, who was in the East River, had been searching there already because he has experience with hard hat dives. He also has a show on Discovery Channel called Sewer Divers. We reached out to him. We're thankful enough that he said, come out, I'll show you what it's all about, and we could film and be a part of it. And so we did. So when we get out there, there's a crew of maybe 10 of them, Don and his crew, and then there's a guy by the name of Chris Ogden who has his own rebreather system for how he does things. And then you have Don and his crew with their hard hat divers. They go down under the water. They're using communications through hardline, and they're using hot water to go through their suits to keep them warm when they're going up to 70 feet deep in that East River. So they took us out there, and then they said, we're gonna hit this place today, which was the place where they found a steppe bison job before we got there. I think they had found it a few weeks before we got there. We went out there, looked at the location that they said that the job bone was found at. Thought that was interesting. It wasn't off 65th Street. So that trip was sort of a quick, get to know everybody type trip. When we got back, we said, we need to bring more firepower to this team, to this effort. So we reached out to Heavy D Sparks and Diesel Dave and Doug Bishop. And these guys have experience ranging from equipment to pulling up people to tractors, everything. So they decided, yes, we like this. We want to come out. So between Don and his crew, between Heavy D Sparks and his crew, and our Bone Rush team, we went out on the river just last month. And we spent 2 days out there, okay? And I want to go through what happened, what we've done, what we've seen up to this point. So when we first got to New York, as this would be our second trip, we got an underwater drone, okay? And we were just gonna go for the first day ourselves, just Team Bone Rush, was going to go and put an underwater drone in the East River off of 65th Street from the side, from like the walkway. We did that. We realized how strong this current is and what's happening down there. We couldn't get much visibility because it was really dark. And then our drone started to drift away, turned into pretty much a disaster. Since then, we have acquired a new drone that has more capabilities for currents. So we learned current is strong. It's going to be difficult to get to the bottom of that river with technology, and let alone with people. So that same day, we actually went to the Museum of Natural History. So we're right there in the middle of it. We're walking through the museum. We're seeing all sorts of prehistoric animals, dinosaurs, woolly mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, everything, just to kind of get the feel for what we're after. It was impressive to see. I don't know if any of you guys have been to the museum lately, but for me, I was able to appreciate the scale of these creatures and really what it would be like to find a piece of that animal, a piece of that history. And not only that, what it would have been like to maybe experience being around some of these animals tens of thousands, if not millions of years ago. So that was an eye-opener for us. Next day we got up, went with the whole crew, Diesel Dave, Heavy D, Dirty Water Don, Team Bone Rush, got on the barge and drove up the Hudson River. We landed and parked at 65th Street.
So yeah, so we'll get down to the bottom, let me know you're on board. Get yourself comfortable, the current is starting to pick up. It's gonna get worse. Now it's like gonna pick up. So you get down to the bottom, you need some slack, give it to you. The more hose you put inside the water, the more the water's gonna pull you. So it's gonna be hard for you to move around, it's gonna be dragging you. It gets shallow, it starts from like 50 feet, slopes real quick to 30 feet, and then levels out to 20. And then goes right to the water. Just be careful, like I said. Mammoth rig, mammoth bones.
You were a mammoth bone, you were 30 feet.
I'd be at 50. That's where I would go. Yeah.
Dirty Water Don went down first. He came up with a piece. It looked kind of like like what a museum would use to complete a dinosaur replica or a woolly mammoth replica. It looked like a joint to a shoulder. We have not got confirmation on that yet, if that's what that is, but that's what it looked like. So then after that, Don came up, we looked at that piece, you know, then it was time for the next guy to go down. Two guys went down the next time. It would be Christopher Ogden. He was going to be the safety diver, I guess, and he was supposed to be attached to the boat, but he's a free diver, so he just kind of does his own thing. So I didn't know what was really going on there. And then the guy that was diving down with the hard hat was Cole Cannon. They call him the Law Father. And as they were doing this, right before they got in, the current picked up significantly. I could just see the water moving below us. It looked like we were cruising down the boat, but we were just anchored and the water's just flushing through. And then I see Cole Cannon get ready to jump in the water, and I noticed that he doesn't have any weights on. He's probably, I'd say, 180 pounds, fit guy. Probably need a little more weight in order to get to the bottom of that river, which could be up to 70 feet in a current. And then you're supposed to have this other guy, Chris Ogden, and there's a safety diver. We don't know where Chris Ogden is at this point. Cole jumps in. Immediately, he just flies underneath the boat. Can't even get close to the bottom because of the current. So me, I'm on the boat and I'm feeling a little uncomfortable what's going on because I can see this is getting out of control immediately. Next thing we know, Cole is on the side of the boat now, flopping around, all right, with water just shooting over him. He's trying to climb his way back into the boat, which is exhausting when you're fighting current. He is strapped on with the rope and with wiring through his harness, but there's a possibility that can break off. And if it does, he has a heavy helmet. He has a little bit of weights on his ankles and no life vest, nothing. So he would just float down behind the boat and we might never see him again. That was on my mind. At the same time, we can't find Chris Ogden.
Well, Chris went down about 15, 20 minutes ago. He's supposed to come up and check in at 10 minutes, and he hasn't. And it's been about 20, 25 minutes ago. So we're getting nervous. Hopefully he just got lost and looking for things and lost track of time.
They finally get Cole into the boat, which is nice. That's good. Okay, Cole's safe. I'm happy there. But now I'm worried about Chris Ogden. I'm worried because I care about these guys and I don't want to see anything bad happen on this trip. Right, we start talking about him, we look, pops up, and he's waving a knife as he's floating away. So that means he lost his rope line. He keeps floating down the river as heavy barge and heavy boats are coming up that lane, which could easily run him over. So thankfully they had another boat on our big boat. They had detached from our boat, cruised around, got Chris Ogden out of the water, brought him back onto the main boat. It starts to rain. We got guys that are safe now. And then it's Heavy D and Diesel Dave's opportunity to dive. And I think by then we were talking about going to another location, but we'd already been on this boat for probably 5-6 hours at this point. I think people were tired. I went to Heavy D and Diesel Dave. I said, guys, what do you guys think about just stopping today? Because I was worried. I was worried we were gonna get into trouble. The energy didn't feel right at that point. I said, yeah, that'd be cool. That's fine. Let's do that. Let's settle it in for the day. And then we're going to dive a lot the next day. So that's how the day ended.